Hi guys, this is Keshav. So today I'm going to present a very important topic in front of all of you, which is the Bilkis Bano saga. So recently it created a lot of controversy all around the country, and a lot of media houses, various newspapers covered it quite in detail. So what is the entire controversy? What is the punishment for a rape convict in India? What exactly is this offense of rape? Because we discuss and you could say listen about this particular thing quite a lot in news media and in various types of social media as well. So today we're going to discuss this particular topic in detail. Stay with me till the end of this so that you guys can understand as to what these different things mean and what is the entire controversy at all. You can also state an opinion at the end of this. You can mention your opinion in the comment box as well. I'll be very happy to take it from there and answer it for you guys if you have any concerns with respect to this. So first of all, introducing myself, this is Keshav. I graduated in 2020 from National Law University, Jodhpur. Particularly in Unacademy, I teach current affairs, legal reasoning, data interpretation, and I help with strategy making as well. So this is something that I do here in Unacademy, and you guys can join me for all the classes here as well, for current affairs, for legal reasoning, and so on. Let's start with this. So the first most important thing I was trying to tell you is what happened recently was that there was a committee set up by the Gujarat government. And that committee released 11 convicts in the Bilkis Bano gang rape case. These convicts also murdered 7 people in their family. So that led to a lot of hue and cry around the country as to whether these people could be left or could be remissioned. Now remission का मतलब यहाँ पर all through the session you will hear this word from me. इसका ये मतलब होगा कि किसी की सजा को कम करना या उसको खत्म कर देना. राइट सो रेमिशन क्या ऐसे हीनियस क्राइम्स के लिए किया जा सकता है इस कंट्री में? दैट्स अ मेजर क्वेश्चन दैट स्टूड व्हेन दिस टॉपिक वाज डिस्कस्ड क्वाइट अ लॉट. So obviously this topic, this particular issue, when these people were released from jail, all 11 of them, sparked a lot of controversy. A lot of people called it a travesty of Indian justice system, and a lot of people gave different kind of opinions with respect to this. We will only stick to the factual and the legal part of this without stating any opinion in this particular matter. So now the question arises that what gives you could say right to the Gujarat government to remit, or you could say इनको माफ कर देने का गुजरात गवर्नमेंट के पास में क्या राइट था यहाँ पे. So I will start this particular session with the understanding of the rape laws in India as to what are the laws. So rape is defined in section 375 of the Indian Penal Code. Now what does it say is that it's obviously one of the most heinous crimes that you could say a human being can conduct. But something very important to understand is that rape is a sexual intercourse by a man with a woman, which states that a woman cannot rape at all and a man cannot be raped. Right? A man cannot be raped because the definition per se says that it is a sexual assault that involves sexual intercourse by a man with a woman. अब किन circumstances में वो rape हो जाता है और वो consensual sex नहीं होता है? So the circumstances are when this particular sexual intercourse is against the will of the women. Second one is without her express consent also. The third one is when the consent has been obtained, but that has been obtained by force. For example, say I put a gun on a woman's head and ask her to have sexual intercourse. That would amount to rape, right? So certain things where the consent has been taken, but the consent has not been taken freely, it's been taken forcibly. Other than that, obviously you make her believe that you are legally married to that woman while you know that you were not. Right? So that also amounts to rape. Certain circumstances where the woman is not able to make a decision, or you could say not able to give a consent. This could be in a situation where woman is in a medical condition where she is not able to make any kind of opinion about what she wants to do. It could also be a state of intoxication where women may be drunk, or you could say under the influence of certain drugs as well. That would also amount to rape. And the last part is with or without her consent if she is 16-year-old. Although 16-year-old वाला जो definition है ये laws में दे रखा है, but actual जो आजकल जो presently the state of law in India is 18 years. So if you have sexual intercourse with anybody, be it your girlfriend, who is less than 18-year-old, even if it is consensual, that amounts to rape. Right? So you need to be very sure the kind of, you could say, people who are hearing me right now, you need to take this into account. Very important. Now, there are certain cases that have kind of tried to clarify as to what rape would amount, because see, there are a lot of kinds of sexual assaults and sexual harassment you see over a period of time. Like हम अलग अलग टाइप के केसेस देखते हैं, किसी ने किसी को एक पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट में छेड़ दिया, right? That is also sexual harassment. But what would amount to rape was something needed some clarity, because हर चीज रेप नहीं हो सकती. Every amount of assault cannot be considered rape, right? अगर कोई किसी को inappropriately touch कर लेता है तो उसको हम rape नहीं बोल सकते. So rape was clarified in this case called Sakshi versus Union of India, wherein one criteria was given for a person to commit rape. So that criteria was that there has to be penile vaginal penetration. Okay, so there has to be penile vaginal penetration. Without that, rape cannot be committed. Okay, so अगर penile vaginal penetration नहीं होता है, in no circumstance can you could say hold that person accountable for rape. Now you must have heard about the very infamous Nirbhaya gang rape case. In Nirbhaya gang rape case, not only was she raped, she was also, you could say, there were certain external items like bottles, etc. that was put into her private parts. The question arises is whether that would also amount to rape. Putting certain, you could say, bottles or other things into a woman's private part. Now, this was also clarified by a case called Sudesh Jhaku versus KCJ, wherein the court held that that would not amount to rape. Although this case sparked a lot of controversy around the legal arena, but the state of law at this point in time prevails that it has to be a penile vaginal penetration. ठीक है, it cannot be something जो कि मतलब if you're putting in a foreign object like a bottle, जैसे मैंने आपको निर्भया केस के बारे में बताया, so that cannot be considered to be a rape. Although Nirbhaya was a rape because there were penile vaginal penetration also by every man who was a part of that particular gang rape. So that is why these people were hanged. Some of them, these kinds of punishments were given to them. Now, something that is very important is हम बहुत बार consent की बात करते हैं. So this is a visual, or this is, I would say, a picture from this very famous movie called Pink. Pink में एक बहुत famous एक वहाँ पर dialogue था, no means no. Now what does consent mean? Consent का क्या मतलब होता है? So consent not only means कि women किस point पर consent आपको दे रही है. For example, say if women says no, it's obviously a no. But even during the sexual activity, even if you're having sexual intercourse with a woman, and during the sexual intercourse the woman feels that she does not want to proceed with it now, she can say no at that point in time, और उसके बाद भी if you continue with the intercourse, that also amounts to rape. So the point where women says no, the sexual intercourse has to stop for it to be within law. It is something that's very important. Everybody needs to understand this. Now, sometimes we talk about prostitution as well, right? For example, say somebody hires a prostitute. Now, that person, is having sexual intercourse with that prostitute. But before having sexual intercourse, the prostitute says no, that she does not want to enter into it. Now, if you could say, make that particular person or make that particular prostitute enter into sexual intercourse with you forcibly, if without her consent, because you've given us some money, that would also amount to rape, right? So it does not matter the kind of person you're doing with. You cannot say that prostitution is a profession and that woman has been hired for this particular purpose, so she would have to do that. That is no, you could say, defense for it. It would amount to rape if it is against her will without her consent, right? It doesn't matter कि वो किसके साथ आप कर रहे हो. However, this particular consent wala topic have been taken up by court in a lot of circumstances. I will discuss only one of these cases. So what happened in this particular case was, there was this woman who was ready to settle with a person who she accused earlier of raping her by taking some money. ठीक है, वो कुछ पैसा ले लेती और उसके साथ settle कर लेती. Now the Gujarat High Court in this matter said that since the woman is ready to take money and settle the issue, it clearly means that women probably is making false allegation on the accused. ठीक है, वो शायद false allegation लगा रही है उस पर. There is a possibility कि शायद ऐसा कुछ हुआ ही नहीं हो. The matter went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court clearly stated that the court failed to understand a very important fact here, that the rape had happened. However, the woman was ready to settle with this particular offense because the man who raped her was from a very influential family, and she obviously had to take care of her family members and herself as well to be able to live freely and at least safely, because this man had so much influence in that particular area that this woman would not be able to live properly there. And that is why under coercion, unless that kind of threat or duress, this particular woman has to, you could say, succumb to the pressure and accept certain, you could say, amount whatever that man is paying. The court here held that man guilty of the offense of rape and punished him appropriately. So there are certain ways in which consent needs to be defined. Just because a woman is ready to take money, that does not mean that she must have consented to it and now she is doing this just to take that money out of that particular man. right? So it has to be done from a case to case basis, but consent जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, the golden rule is no means no. तो जिस point पर अगर no हो जाता है, उस point से you can't just proceed ahead. ठीक है, you just can't proceed ahead even for a second after that. Now this is a very controversial concept that had, you could say, become a point of debate quite recently again, that as to marital rape क्या होता है. तो जैसे मैंने आपको जो rape का definition बताया ना, उसमें एक major exception दे रखा है. That is the marital rape exception. Now what does that mean? Marital rape exception का मतलब होता है that a woman, if she is your wife, under the Indian Penal Code, अगर you are not, you could say, held liable for raping your wife. So if you have sexual intercourse with a woman without her consent, that would amount to rape. That is the definition of rape. But if that woman is your wife, this is not rape. Now बहुत सारे ऐसे डेटा है जो इंडिया में बताते हैं that at least 1 out of 2 or 3 women have at some point in time suffered marital rape. However, India does not have a law. In fact, we have legalized marital rape. Right? हमने उसको legalize कर दिया. So recently the matter had gone to the Delhi High Court, but Delhi High Court also could not come with any final decision because the judgment was given by a division bench, which was a 2-judge bench, और judgment was 1:1. तो वहाँ पर कोई final judgment नहीं आया. The matter is still pending in the Supreme Court. So we will wait to see as to what the Supreme Court says and what is their opinion with respect to this, and we will then definitely update you through this channel as well कि आगे क्या हुआ and what is the entire law on this, or how has this law, you could say, come so ahead over a period of time. Another very important thing that we need to understand about rape is how much are people punished for it. So generally ऐसा देखा गया है that the minimum punishment for an offence of rape is 7 years, which may be extended to life imprisonment, right? ज़्यादा जो सिवियर सिचुएशंस होती है, फॉर एग्जांपल इट्स अ गैंग रेप और जो बहुत सिवियर रेप वाली सिचुएशंस होती है, वहाँ पर इट्स मिनिमम 10 years to life imprisonment. बट अ केस विच इज एज रेयर एज अ निर्भया गैंग रेप केस, विच इज पुट इन द कैटेगरी ऑफ रेयरेस्ट ऑफ द रेयर, वहाँ पर आपने देखा होगा दैट ऑल द कॉन्विक्ट्स वर गिवन डेथ पनिशमेंट, राइट? तो डेथ पनिशमेंट इज द पनिशमेंट इन रेयरेस्ट ऑफ द रेयर केसेस, इन केसेस ऑफ ऑफेंस ऑल्सो. There have been a lot of, you could say, voice by various organizations, by various NGOs as well, and around the legal arena saying that rape के लिए भी death penalty should be made a norm now, because there need to be some kind of deterrent effect in the society, which make people understand that this is as heinous as, say, a murder, जिसके लिए death penalty दिया जाता है, right? So it's very important for the legislation also to kind of consider this. So we'll see what happens. Here we are not contemplating as to what should happen and what shouldn't. We're just trying to understand the law and the facts. Now, आपने ये देखा होगा कि नवतेज सिंह जौहर versus Union of India, a very famous judgment, it legalized homosexual relationship in India, right? So homosexuals are those people who belong to the LGBTQI category, right? Now the people of same sex can stay together. ठीक है, this was earlier not legalized. In fact, it was considered an offence under section 377 of the Indian Penal Code. Now, after this legalization, this was a half battle won, because there are certain points on which there is no clarity at all in the Navtej Singh Johar case. For example, there is a gay couple staying together, and even if it's not a gay couple, there are 2 men, and there is one man who is interested in the other man, and he forcibly, you could say, commits some kind of sexual assault on the other man. Now this would not amount to rape, right? Rape नहीं होगा, because first, a man cannot be raped, as I told you earlier. ठीक है, man cannot be raped at all, and for it to be rape, there has to be a man and a woman. So homosexual rapes have not been defined at all, and this is something that the legislation, or at least the judiciary, has to take into account and form some kind of guidelines or laws for us, right? तो यहाँ पर अभी हमारा कोई भी law नहीं है. It is not still clear whether homosexuals can marry or not, although there have been certain circumstances in India where homosexuals have gotten married, but उन पर कोई ऐसा नहीं है कि उन पर कोई रोक लगाई जाएगी, but there is no proper law allowing that. There is no law not allowing that also, but allow करने के लिए भी there is no particular law in India as of now. So I think law on this particular matter on the offence of rape must be quite clear with all of you now. Now let's understand as to what is the Bilkis Bano case and what happened to Bilkis Bano. So I'll tell you a very short story, which is going to be an extremely important part of the entire thing that we are doing in this particular session. So the story begins on 27th February 2020, where there was a passenger train called Sabarmati Express going through Godhra to Ahmedabad. Now what happened was 4 coaches of this particular train were lighted by, or say burnt by, a mob, which led to death of 59 Hindus, which included 25 women, 25 children and 9 men. And all of these were considered as kar sevaks, who were basically on a religious trip These are all Hindu people. Now, it was rumored that certain Muslim mob did this particular thing and they lit the entire, you could say, 4 coaches, which led to so many deaths. Now, obviously, because of this rumor, it led to a communal riot across the state. ठीक है, जिसको हम गुजरात राइट या गोधरा राइट के नाम से जानते हैं. So for the next 4 to 5 days, there was this, you could say, series of offences that were committed here and there. A lot of public property burned, a lot of rape cases here and there. One of those infamous rape case in the Godhra riots of 2022 was the Bilkis Bano rape case, wherein 11 men stormed into her house. They gang raped her while she was 5 months pregnant and killed 7 people from her family. Now, obviously, this matter later was taken up by a court in Ahmedabad. However, Bilkis Bano felt that certain witnesses or the eyewitnesses in this particular case may be, you could say, at the, because obviously it was politicized a lot, so there's a possibility कि उनकी जान को खतरा हो सकता है, ठीक है ना. तो क्योंकि उनकी जान को खतरा हो सकता है, that witnesses might be, taken, you could say they might be killed also, or you could say they might be threatened by certain consequences. So she requested the Ahmedabad High Court to transfer the matter to some other court. So the matter from Gujarat was transferred to the Bombay Civil Court. ठीक है, वहाँ पर CBI कोर्ट ने इसको अपने हाथ में लिया. CBI कोर्ट started, you could say, understanding and deciding the matter. So in 2008, the CBI court came up with its judgment where it convicted all the 11 people for murder and as well as rape of Bilkis Bano, and they were given life imprisonment for same. ठीक है, उनको लाइफ इम्प्रिजनमेंट दिया था. 2018 में बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट ने जब अपील हुई वहां पर, इट ऑल्सो कंफर्म्ड लाइफ इम्प्रिजनमेंट फॉर ऑल दीज पीपल. Now what happened is, recently, one of the accused, or you could say one of the convicts out of these 11 people, he filed an application in the Supreme Court stating that he has had good behavior over the last 15 years or so. 15 years, 4 months के आसपास he was in jail at that time. And because of this good behavior and because of the remission policy of 1992. तो remission policy of 1992 क्या बोलता है? If somebody has, with good behavior, spent 14 years in prison, that person can be remissioned by the state government. ठीक है, उसको remission किया जा सकता है, मतलब उसकी सजा को कम करके खत्म किया जा सकता है. Even if it's life imprisonment, तो 14 साल के बाद छोड़ा जा सकता है. And this person was staying, or you could say, serving imprisonment for last 15 years. Supreme Court said that this is a discretion of the state government. We have nothing much to add to it. So it transferred the matter to the Gujarat government. Gujarat government naturally formed a committee with respect to it, and that particular committee took a decision that we should set all these people free. हम लोगों को इनको free कर देना चाहिए. We should remit. Now this obviously led to a lot of hue and cry. But कैसे आप इतने heinous offense वाले, you could say, offense के लिए किसी को छोड़ सकते हो? Now this was not just the remission policy of 1992. हमारे पास एक 2016 और 2014 की भी remission policy है, right? उसके अंडर अगर ये जाता तो उनको definitely नहीं छोड़ा जाता, है ना? वहाँ पे नहीं छोड़ा जाता. But the offense, if you see, happened in 2002. तो 2002 के offense के लिए हम 2014 या 2016 की policy को नहीं लेंगे, है ना? Because at that time the 1992 policy was in operation, so we will only undertake that policy. To add to that, recently, as we are celebrating 75 years of Indian independence under this umbrella of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, the government came up with certain policy as well. Government भी कुछ policy के साथ में आई थी, wherein that policy also, you could say, played a very important role in making or setting all these people free from jail. So let me help you understand as to what was that policy. So as you can look in the table here, वहाँ पर दे रखा था, if any woman or person from a transgender community has a minimum age of 50 and has completed 50% of the jail term so far, that person can be set free. For male, the minimum age was 60 years, and if they have served 50% of the sentence, and for persons with disability who have minimum 70% disability, if they have served 50% of their jail term, they could be set free. Now all these people, all these 11 convicts at this point in time were 60 plus, and that is why these people were set free. Other very important law to understand here is that there is this criminal procedure code wherein the state government have been given power to remit certain people, उनकी सजा कम करने का. तो section 432 of this particular, you could say, code was used to remit these people and set these people free, which obviously, as we know, has led to a lot of hue and cry across the country, right? So now there are certain questions that I would like to ask you as well, and you can mention the answers in the comment box. I'll be very happy to take it from there. Very important thing is, besides politics, obviously we're not going to politicize it. So whenever you answer, try to answer within the contours of law, or stating some kind of a logical thing. ठीक है, we are not going to go a right wing or a left winger. हम लोग एक normal सा legal या factual conversation करेंगे यहाँ पे. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पर a major question is whether a rape convict, somebody who has done such a big offense, such a heinous offense, is liable, or you could say in any circumstances, can that person be eligible for remission? So India is already, अगर हम आप NCRB का recent report देखोगे, जो National Crime Records Bureau है, उसने बताया कि the number of rape cases has increased in India over a period of time. When we are facing such a acute problem, wherein the you could say law and order situation is not being able to take care of properly by all the government. I'm not saying that this is one particular government or you could say one particular person responsible for it. It is not being taken care of because we do not have the stringent laws. The conviction rate in India is merely 13 to 14% in rape cases. So we need a proper law, and at the same time providing remission to these victims. Will it solve problem? Will it solve this, you could say, major problem that we are suffering with right now? And you can also state your opinion in the comment box. I'll be very happy, as I told you, take it from there and answer it for you guys. So that's it about the session from my side. Thank you so much, guys. You can definitely subscribe to this particular channel. We're going to be bringing some very important, useful content for all of you. Thank you so much for this.